Good evening. Vice President for Policy and Partnerships at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Mark Bowman, is hosting the Public TV team tonight. Mr. Bowman, thank you for having us here.
Thank you very much.
How do you assess cooperation with Armenia in both the public and the private sector over the period of your service at EBRD?
Well, thank you. I mean, the EBRD has had a very long-standing relationship with Armenia. We've been active in this country since 1992, and over the 30 years we have invested cumulatively €2 billion in the country in over 200 projects. So we have a very productive relationship. Most of our support has been focused towards the private sector. The private sector is a key priority for the EBRD. And our current objectives in the country are to continue to help support the private sector, to improve the business environment, to invest in sustainable infrastructure, and to support the economy with the green economy transition.
Mr. Bowman, EBRD is financially supporting Armenian small and medium-sized enterprises. How exactly does this support reach its addressees?
So we work with a number of partner financial institutions, a number of local banks, providing them with credit lines that they can then on-lend to SMEs, to small businesses, and provide them with support. Over the course of last year, we invested almost €100 million supporting small and medium enterprises in Armenia, and we also provide them with technical assistance and advisory services.
Which criteria does a business have to meet so they can obtain a loan that you have been providing them through the bank?
So we have different product lines, but for example, we will have credit lines that help to support SMEs defined as a certain size. We have credit lines that will support women in businesses, or we have credit lines that will support small businesses in terms of addressing some of the environmental challenges that they have.
You've been having meetings at the central bank as well as with state dignitaries. What's on the agenda?
So I've had a number of meetings today, both at the central bank, but with senior government ministers. And the purpose of my visit has been to understand some of the current challenges that Armenia is facing, understand the progress that the government is making with reforms in the country, to take stock of our current cooperation, and also to identify areas for further cooperation. One of the unique features of the EBRD is that we have an ability to combine investments with policy dialogue, policy advice, and technical assistance. And as I say, I've been here to understand the current challenges that the country is facing, but also to look for how we can deepen our cooperation further in the future.
Armenia is an economy of paradoxes. On the one hand, the country is facing security threats by unfriendly neighbors such as Azerbaijan and Turkey. The judiciary is still transitioning through democratic reform. But on the other hand, we had an unanticipated economic growth of 14% and 5%. And certain sectors, like for example the IT sector, have been receiving quite impressive international injections and all flourish, enjoying tax reductions as well as paybacks. Now, what would your recommendation be to a foreign investor who's thinking of investing in Armenia?
Well, that's a very good question, and I think my general advice would be that in order to be successful attracting foreign investment, a country needs to have a stable macroeconomic environment and also needs to have a friendly business environment, so a stable regulatory, legal taxation system. As you said, I've been discussing today the economic situation, and in actual fact, the economy has been growing stronger here over the last year than you might have expected, than people might have expected a year ago. And I think one of the important messages of that is that yes, the macroeconomic situation has been positive, but it is important for the government
to keep it stable
and to use the opportunity of the higher growth that they're experiencing at the moment in order to undertake the important reforms in order to make that growth sustainable going into the future. In terms of the message to foreign investors, I think we certainly see, as I say, we've been active here as an investor for 30 years, and there are some very significant opportunities in this country, whether it be in the IT sector or in terms of other sectors. But Armenia is an economy with significant opportunities, and if the government can continue its job ensuring macroeconomic stability and progressing with reforms, then it is a good place to invest.
Yerevan transportation is a problem of the day. The city just received 40 buses, 47 more are on the way through EBRD's financing. But even when those buses arrive, we still are going to have a gap between supply and demand. Is EBRD thinking of financing for even more transportation, greener transportation in the upcoming years for Yerevan?
So we've been involved in this project, helping the delivery, investing in the buses, the green buses for Yerevan, and as you say, 40 have already arrived, and 47 will arrive very soon. One of the initiatives we've been undertaking with the Yerevan municipality is that Yerevan is one of our green cities, part of our Green Cities program, a flagship program, which is a program we have engaging with municipal authorities, helping them to develop a comprehensive plan for city management, taking into account environmental and climate factors. And you're absolutely right. I think the delivery of the buses is extremely important, but it needs to be part of a comprehensive plan to improve the service to citizens here in the city and to address some of the historical challenges in terms of undercapacity in the transport sector.
EBRD is planning to finance another very important project, the construction of Sisian-Kajaran Road and tunnels that will take around 5 to 10 years. And we know that this infrastructure specifically has an important strategic and security component. How committed is EBRD to its construction?
So we are working on this project. It's a very important project, the North-South Road transport corridor. Transport is very important in terms of regional connectivity, but also connecting different parts of the country, enabling economic activity. So it's a project that could bring with it very significant benefits. We are engaged in the project in terms of doing our preparation and due diligence, and we hope very much that we will be able to go ahead and to make an investment. Obviously, we are also working with the authorities, and we're working with international partners who would also be part of the project.
Mr. Bowman, we also know that EBRD provides loans to certain Armenian banks for lending to small businesses. Part of this we already discussed. The purpose is to increase energy efficiency in Armenia. Where is Armenia in terms of energy efficiency, and what joint efforts are still to be taken?
Well, I think energy efficiency is an incredibly important agenda, and it's part of the broader climate agenda. I think it's very well known that Armenia is particularly affected by the impact of climate change, and it's important for Armenia to play its role in terms of transitioning to a low carbon economy. I think what I would say is that for businesses, energy efficiency obviously makes sense in terms of helping reduce environmental damage, but it also makes economic sense in terms of saving money. And I think one of the features of the current international system, clearly there's a very significant need to make progress addressing the causes of climate change, but also the potential to address energy efficiency, to expand renewable energy brings with it economic benefits, because this is a way of saving money, securing cheaper energy, and also of securing energy security.
Mr. Bowman, what are the plans of EBRD for the coming 5 years in Armenia, for Armenia?
So the plans for the EBRD for the coming 5 years. So over the course of the next year or so, we will be developing our next country strategy. But in terms of our current country strategy, our focus is on continuing to support the private sector, supporting the development of the private sector, investing in private sector companies, but also engaging with policy dialogue, helping the government to improve the investment regime. One of the very important things we do is support the Investment Council, which is a productive forum for public-private dialogue to identify issues that businesses are facing in order to improve the investment climate. We are also very much focused on sustainable infrastructure, helping Armenia invest in important critical infrastructure, for example, in the transport sector, and helping support Armenia with the green economy transition, helping it to be part of the transition to cleaner, greener, and cheaper energy.
What can Armenia herself do to become an even more valuable partner to EBRD?
The challenge for Armenia, and I mentioned this a bit earlier, but the economic situation here is perhaps more positive than might have been expected a year ago. The important thing is for Armenia to show continued commitment to the reform process, to continue to progress difficult reforms, to improve the functioning of the economy, to diversify the economy, to invest in infrastructure in order to ensure that growth going forward can be sustainable and can bring benefits to the whole of the population.
What plans does EBRD have for the regional front for the next 5 years?
So we are obviously involved in the region. We work with a number of different countries in the region. We have a particular focus on regional connectivity. We believe that economies become more successful when they increase their trade with other economies. So investing in transport infrastructure, in border infrastructure can help to facilitate trade, can help to deliver economic prosperity through increasing trade, and ultimately economic integration can also bring security benefits.
On the international front, I know that EBRD is going on with the reconstruction of Ukraine. What are your plans on this front for the next few years?
So Ukraine is an absolute priority, the top priority for the EBRD, and we stand absolutely shoulder to shoulder with the Ukrainian people during the current very difficult times. We continue to invest in Ukraine. We are performing what we believe is a very important service, helping to support the functioning of the Ukrainian economy, helping to support livelihoods in Ukraine in what is an extremely challenging situation. We have been investing over the course of this year in facilitating trade and trade finance to help trade continue to flow. We've invested in the gas company, helping them to secure gas supplies in order to continue with heating. We have been engaged helping them to repair important parts of the electricity network. We've been engaged with the railway company, helping them with liquidity support and helping them with repairs to damaged infrastructure. As I say, very, very important in terms of helping to maintain the basic functioning of the Ukrainian economy. And over the course of the 2 years, 2022, 2023, we will invest 3 billion euros in Ukraine. We are doing that through a combination of taking additional risk on our own balance sheet, but also with very significant donor support that we have mobilized. Of course, the immediate priority, the absolute priority, is supporting Ukraine through the winter, through this year, helping them to deal with the very significant challenges they are facing. But we are also engaged in discussions, planning for the future, planning for the reconstruction of Ukraine, planning for how, when hopefully soon the conflict is ended, the Ukrainian economy, Ukraine can be rebuilt and reconstructed. And we expect that working with international partners, the EBRD will have a very important role to play there.
And the last question, have you been enjoying your stay in Armenia?
I've very much enjoyed my stay in Armenia. Unfortunately, this is a short visit. I'm here for less than 2 days, but I've had a fantastic program. I've had the opportunity to have some fantastic meetings, and will continue to do so later today. And I very much look forward to returning to Armenia soon. And I also very much look forward to the fact that the EBRD will be having its annual meeting in 2024 here in Yerevan. So I will
you'll be back soon.
Certainly be back for that, and hopefully be back before then.
Looking forward to meeting you again. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Vice President for Policy and Partnerships at EBRD, Mark Bowman, has been hosting the Public TV team tonight.